Now at 5 o'clock, it is the biggest advancement in memory care to hit the market, and soon it will be available right here in our area.
Today, we are learning about the new FDA-approved Alzheimer's drug and its impact. WHAS11's Alexis Jones spoke with local health experts and one patient who might benefit.
First, it was words.
Nothing in particular, tiny little things.
But then Julie Miller says she started to forget a little more.
I just knew something was wrong, and darn it, there was.
After several MRIs and doctor visits, Miller was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's last year. Since then, she says she hasn't looked forward to the future until now.
There's a great amount of hope out there, and it's making a huge difference.
The FDA announced it approved Alzheimer's drug Leqembi, proven to slow down the disease's progression by nearly 6 months. And Norton Healthcare will be the first in Louisville to have it. Dr. Greg Cooper hopes to start treatments by next month. He says it will be given as an infusion every 2 weeks. Cooper adds patients must be in the early stages of dementia. An MRI and several tests are also required to determine patient eligibility. But even if patients aren't eligible, Shannon White with Alzheimer's Association says Leqembi is still a bottle of hope. In Louisville, Alexis Jones, WHAS 11 on your side.
Also tonight here at 5 o'clock, a trend that has Louisville Metro Police and Metro government concerned.
According to LMPD's latest data report released on Monday, there have been 225 non-fatal criminal shootings and 85 homicides. That number has only increased throughout the week. It has been a violent July 4th holiday week. And those numbers are very concerning to the Group Violence Intervention Group.
Group Violence Intervention, or GVI as it stands for, is the office that coordinates our city's response to gang violence. That office has a new director, and today WHAS 11's Travis Breeze and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton talked with him about those numbers.
GVI has been active in Louisville for almost 3 years now with mixed results. New GVI Director Michael Bogan says the community will see his impact in the first few months.
If you are a driver of crime, we're going to come talk to you.
Friday was day 4 on the job for GVI Director Michael Bogan, who has over 20 years experience with local law enforcement and 2 years experience with the state department that trains officers.
Because it's an opportunity to do something.
Since October 2020, GVI has been the office that meets with police, federal law enforcement, and the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office to make a plan to target street groups and gangs. GVI leaders work with the school system and social services to reach people on the edge of violence and offer them resources to stay out of trouble.
We're going to involve you in our program. If that means that you are a minor, then that's what it's going to be. But I believe that we can make, through the community, that we can make a strong argument as to why they need to stop.
One part of GVI is call-ins, a meeting where former offenders on probation and parole listen to a message from the mayor and family members who've lost a loved one. During a focus investigation in March, we told you how Louisville was struggling to get attendance because of a legal interpretation by the Department of Corrections.
We're going to focus on what we can control. And what we can control is getting what we do out to the public.
Councilman Anthony Piagentini has been critical of GVI in the past. He feels Mayor Fisher didn't pick the right person for the job originally and says this led to local and federal partners not fully adopting the strategy.
It takes somebody with a lot of guts. They're going to have a lot of command and leadership experience. And that was tremendously lacking in the whole program.
Bogan doesn't see interagency cooperation as a major issue, but says it needs to be continuously worked on. He says they will reduce the number of shootings, and he will reevaluate if that's being accomplished in 3 months.
I'm going to give him the opportunity to show us that he's the right person for the job.
With senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton, Travis Breeze, WHAS 11 on your side.
And Louisville's GVI program has had 4 call-ins to date with less than 20 total gang members attending. Bogan pointed to the success of their custom notifications. He says the city has issued 104 of those notifications so far this year.
Oldham County Police teamed up with the national organization to give people in the county training in case of an active threat.
So your average person that has never been exposed to law enforcement or military training or any sort of active shooter response training, they don't really have the tools in their toolbox for, what decisions can I do, what things can I do or say, or how can I try to help myself or the people I'm with be safer.
The ALICE program, as it's known, helps people to know what to do in the important moments between when a violent situation begins and when police get there. With more and more of these dangerous threats, the experts say it's important for people to have some survival strategies. This training was for anyone who wanted to participate, like teachers or worship leaders. And then they were supposed to take what they learned back to their school or their church. There were about 30 people there for the training today.
Updates here on this Friday afternoon. A Bowling Green, Kentucky police officer suffered life-threatening injuries last night at a shooting at a car dealership in Bowling Green. The latest reports from Kentucky State Police say the suspect is dead. Bowling Green police say the officer was shot several times. It happened at a car mart not far from Western Kentucky University's campus. The officer was flown to a hospital and came out of surgery in critical condition but stable. The officer involved in the incident was identified this afternoon as Matt Davis.
We feel the support of our community, and on behalf of the Bowling Green Police Department, we want to thank you for always supporting us. We appreciate the outpouring prayers, thoughts, comments, calls, and everything that's been brought to the station to uplift these officers in this time of need.
Once again, Officer Davis is in critical but stable condition. In northern Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb has ordered flags to fly at half-staff in Perry County in honor and remembrance of the Tell City Police Sergeant Heather Glenn. She was killed in the line of duty during a domestic call at a hospital. Flags will be lowered from sunrise to sunset on Monday. Her funeral service is Monday morning at 10 at the Tell City, Indiana High School auditorium. Also happening today, the Indiana trooper killed in Greenwood, Indiana, in northern Indiana, is being laid to rest this afternoon in a funeral service. You can see how many cars showed up for this long procession from the funeral home to the cemetery in Indianapolis. Trooper Aaron Smith was killed while trying to deploy stop sticks. The car he was trying to stop hit and killed him last week. Just today, Superintendent of Indiana State Police Doug Carter gave this emotional speech at the service.
Aaron N. Smith, age 33, of Franklin, Indiana, passed away Wednesday, June 28th, 2023 in Plainfield, Indiana, following a life of dedication and service to his friends, his family, his community, his state.
Indianapolis TV stations carried the funeral and the procession all live this afternoon. Smith will receive military and police honors because he also served in the National Guard. More local news. 3 people have been hospitalized, at least one of them seriously hurt after a crash on the Greenbelt Highway in southwest Jefferson County. According to Metro Police, it happened at 1:30 this afternoon. The preliminary investigation reveals a car turning off Bethany Lane hit a car heading north on the Greenbelt Highway. EMS took 3 victims to the hospital. One person's injuries are believed to be life-threatening, and we don't know the condition of the other 2 people involved. The roadway is expected to be shut down, and it could be causing delays for the rest of the afternoon.
A grand jury has indicted the man accused of killing a Scott County, Kentucky deputy. Stephen Xingsheng is charged with murder of a police officer and other felonies. Investigators say he fatally shot Deputy Caleb Conley in May during a traffic stop. It happened in Georgetown at the exit of I-75. The Attorney General took over this case at the request of the local court.
Can you feel it? Well, it may take a little bit for you, but our weather has changed. Look at those skies and how clear they are. No longer that sort of murky, very humid sky. The humidity's going down, but it is hot out there. I mean, it really feels hot.
A little bit of a break, but certainly not cool by any stretch of the imagination.
No,
Christina,
not at all.
What are we dealing with this weekend?
Right, well, it is a little bit more bearable as you're stepping out the door this evening, at least compared to the last couple of days with all of that humidity that we've had. However, for this weekend, we are going to be flipping the script, so to speak, on our weather pattern. We have storms returning to the forecast both days, Saturday and Sunday. So you know what? You may want to get out on this Friday night and really soak up the beautiful last couple of hours of our Friday. If you're headed to Racing Lou tonight versus Casey Current, temperature is going to be in the middle 80s when that starts off at 8 o'clock. So no worries there. A very light breeze coming in from the north through the rest of your Friday evening. As we take you one step farther, we'll be very slow to cool down, just barely going to be dipping below 80 degrees by about 11:30 tonight. Moving along into tomorrow morning, I do think we're going to be waking up dry. Those storms likely not going to be approaching our area until the early afternoon. So in our northwesternmost viewing area by about lunchtime. That'll continue to work its way toward the southeast over the city of Louisville, probably right after lunchtime. So I'd call it after 1 o'clock is when you need to make sure that you have shelter moved by. And then that continues to work its way through the viewing area through the rest of of the afternoon. Largely dry going into Saturday evening and Sunday morning before we wake up and do it all over again for our Sunday. However, I will say that those storms on Sunday are looking a lot more isolated. So I'll walk you through those storm chances here and talk about the severe risk that we have coming up in less than 10 minutes, guys.
All right, Christina, thank you very much. Well, as the deadline looms for UPS and the Teamsters Union to make a deal before a strike, both sides are asking for the other to come back to the negotiation table. Negotiations fell out between the two groups early Wednesday morning. The National UPS Teamsters team unanimously rejected the counteroffer UPS presented. But today, Teamsters General President said that the Teamsters are ready to make a deal.
We are not refusing to negotiate. They know what we want. They know what our members need. And if UPS causes a strike, it's going to be on UPS. I mean, they're going to self-inflict these wounds on themselves.
The union represents over 340,000 members with full and part-time workers. Now, there's just more than 3 weeks left to make a deal by that July 31st deadline. And in a new statement, UPS is saying they haven't walked away from the negotiation table. We have nearly a month left to negotiate. We have not walked away, and the union has responsibility to remain at the table. Refusing to negotiate, especially when the finish line is in sight, creates significant unease among employees and customers and threatens to disrupt the U.S. economy. The union has already authorized a strike if a deal is not made by July 31st.
Also here tonight, it is the question on everybody's mind in Kentucky. After waiting 5 long years for Kentucky to finally legalize sports betting, how much longer is it going to take for you to be able to place those wagers in the Commonwealth? Well, the answer could come out in a special meeting that's going to be happening in Lexington on Monday as the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission looks to review and approve the regulations for sports betting. It was named the regulatory authority on sports betting not long after House Bill 551 passed in February, legalizing sports wagering across Kentucky. The law gives Kentucky's 9 horse racing tracks the exclusive right to operate licenses as a sports betting facility. It'll cost them $500,000 up front before an annual renewal fee of $50,000 kicks in. Now, the tracks have already announced some partnerships with online and app-based platforms like FanDuel, Caesars Sportsbook, and as WHAS11 News just learned today, DraftKings. But before wagers are made, the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission must approve regulations. Its members are poised to do so during the meeting on Monday. Kentucky Senator Damon Thayer says there's an 80% chance that Kentucky sees some form of sports betting by NFL kickoff time in September.
In order to get the retail sports books open at the racetracks by football season, they've got to go through an accelerated process. So that's what Monday's meeting is all about.
While Senator Thayer predicts brick and mortar sports betting will be up and running around NFL kickoff time, online wagering is a different story. Stay with us. Coming up at 6, WHAS 11's Connor Steffen will detail why that is and if we'll have to see separate launch dates for sports betting across Kentucky.
Well, the mission to get chemical weapons out of Kentucky and the United States is nearing completion tonight. Workers at the Bluegrass Army Depot in Richmond, Kentucky are close to destroying rockets filled with GB nerve agents that are the last of the United States declared chemical weapons. It's the result of a decades-long project dating back to the 1980s. The U.S. must destroy all of its chemical weapons under the International Chemical Weapons Convention by September 30th.